Hello, Frags and Beer family. Welcome back to Frags and Beer Radio Live. This is the second episode of the second season, or the return, or whatever you want to say, of Frags and Beer Radio Live. As I talked about in the last episode, I have since retired fragsandbeer.com for a multitude of reasons, mostly because the hosting became too much of a hassle. The company I was going through really killed my desire to bother with it anymore. And it was taking time away from other things that I needed to work on. And I found that I just wasn't devoting a lot of time to it. And I was just kind of throwing articles up without a whole lot of thought, and it just wasn't doing it for me anymore. And I wanted to focus more on some other stuff, but I still want to bring you news and my thoughts and stuff on what's going on in geekology and pop culture and the things that we find entertaining and interesting. So, welcome to the show. I'm Trevor, also known as Zaymot or Beard Wizard Man, whichever you prefer. Click the red subscribe button, join the Frags and Beer family to support the channel. When I get to 900, I'm going to give away 9 of my books, either audiobook or ebook. And when I get to 1,000, I'm going to give away 10 copies of Embers of Liberty. Some of those are going to be physical copies that I will sign and send to you personally. So push that red button, join the Frags and Beer family. There's a lot of ways to support the channel, but one of the new ones is we have been putting together new mugs. And put them, if you go to the eBay link in the video description below, you will be taken to my eBay store where you can get my books, which I will sign and send to you, but you can also get mugs. And this is one of the examples that we have. Roll them like you have a pair. Most of them are geek themed, but check out the store. Mugs are $15. They're 15-ounce mugs. They're really nice, actually heavy duty ceramic, all that, microwave safe and everything. One of the reasons I talk about things like this, if you're not going to support this channel, at least support an actual artist that's selling actual stuff. There's a lot of talk of NFTs, and we're going to talk about them tonight. NFTs are a scam, boys and girls. They are somebody trying to sell you something that doesn't exist, something that isn't yours. You're going to get a link to a stupid little 8-bit whatever garbage piece of imagery that's not real. Support real artists, support small artists, support independent artists. Buy stuff from them, not NFTs. All right, so this show is basically a recap of the last week of news and things of interest that I spotted. I tried to categorize it in ways that, maybe you'll find something interesting, whether your interest is in television and movies or gaming or comics or just in general what's going on in things related to the geek sphere, geek, whatever you want to call it. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight is the continued talk of NFTs. Even all the celebrities are getting on it, and surprisingly enough, Bill Shatner really supporting NFTs. I'm not entirely certain why. I'm sure he's going to be coming out with something soon where he's going to be trying to sell you NFTs, but he's talking about gaming NFTs and how great they're going to be for gamers. I've never heard Bill Shatner really talk much about gaming. Maybe the odd remark here and there. I didn't realize he was had such an interest in the gaming world. Maybe he's a gamer himself. I don't really know. But he's really pushing NFTs, and he made a comment today that really bothered me and made me want to pull up some stories and talk about this. But he said that at least with NFTs, you're guaranteed that the creator's going to get paid and you're not going to get bootleg art. And I take exception to that statement that he makes about creators getting paid. There is a lot of art being stolen from independent artists, smaller artists. A lot of it's being stolen off of like DeviantArt. And these NFT scammers are taking these images and minting them and selling them as their own NFTs. And a couple of examples I found just quickly searching. If you go to Twitter right now and just search, what did I look up? Stolen art NFT, you're going to find a depressing high number of stories about independent artists and small artists that have had their art stolen from DeviantArt or other places and then minted as NFTs. And one of the ones that I pulled up was from an artist named Taylor Hall. works on Pilot and Cuphead, best friends for his Twitter talks about Banjo-Kazooie and Cuphead, so I'm not sure if he's doing that kind of art or that style of art. But he had something taken and put up as an NFT, and he actually went to Google about it. So the problem is not just that these are being stolen and minted as NFTs and sold, but the hoops that creators have to jump through just to prove it's their art is a little bit extreme, especially for independent artists who don't have a lot of resources or funds. Taylor reported it to Google, and Google basically sent back, "It's unclear to us whether or not you are the authorized copyright agent for the content question. Only the copyright owner or an authorized representative may file a DMCA. Copyright in an image is generally owned by the person who created the image, obviously, unless the image was made as part of that person's responsibilities as an employee or that person, and blah, blah, blah. If you still believe you are the copyright owner in this case, then please reply to this email with documentation that confirms you are the rights holder." So here's where this gets a little tricky. And me being an independent author would fall into the same sort of trouble. So they're basically asking this independent artist who probably does not document everything that they create to prove with documentation that they're the rights holder for their own content. Now, I can tell you as a independent artist, it costs money to file a legal official copyright. Even though copyright law says the minute you produce something that's your own or something that's unique, the minute you produce it, you own the copyright to it. But unfortunately, when it comes to proving the copyright, that's not always good enough. And so you have a lot of these independent artists and independent authors and creators who don't have the funds. You know, it's different for me. If I produce a book, I want to copyright a book, I can't remember what the charge is, but it's like around $100 to file an official copyright with the U.S. government. I think that's what it is anyway. But I might write a book every couple of years. So you're not talking, I mean, that's still a decent amount of money. But, you know, when you're talking about an artist who produces, let's say, half a dozen works a month, that's a lot of money in order for them to legally copyright their work and get documentation for every single piece that they do. That's an exorbitant amount of money for somebody who's very small or very independent. And so the hoops that a creator has to jump through has become, you know, like, I can't think of the word I'm thinking for, you know, the word I'm thinking of, but it's just too much. It's too much to ask these independent artists. So what we as a community need to do is be aware, like, these NFTs are a scam to start with. But if you are out there buying them, maybe do your homework, do your due diligence, and check out these people you're buying them from, check out the art, see if it's come from somewhere else. If you even have an inkling that this art was not originally created by whoever you're buying the NFT from, you probably need to avoid that, because what you're doing is you're harming the original creator of that. And there's an article on Rappler.com. When did this come out? January 19th, 2022. Rappler.com, booming NFT art market plagued by mind-blowing fraud. Mind-blowing fraud. This article is from Tom Modi Levy, Chief Operations Officer at DeviantArt, says they've detected bots that are programmed to scrape the internet, copy artists' works, and automatically post it on NFT auction blocks. So it's not even just an individual that's going out there and stealing this work. You know, they are programming these bots to specifically to automate this and steal this work. Before he passed on 2019, Dan Howard was a concept artist working with major video game companies and posting his drawings online, where he had amassed a loyal fan base. In late 2021, an anonymous account online started auctioning off Howard's works as NFTs in kind of digital asset, often linked to an image or a piece of artwork. It's a kind of digital. That's a description of an NFT. So it's happening, and some people are talking like Shatner. He's saying there that there's a guarantee that the creator is getting paid, and there's no bootleg art out there. That's pure and outright bullshit. And either he knows it's happening and he doesn't care because he's probably going to be marketing an NFT soon, or he's ignorant of it happening and doesn't acknowledge that or doesn't research it. And that's the sad part, is if you're going to get into this business or you're going to get into a market like this, do some damn research. Check these things out. So I'm going to grab some water. So he should be doing that. So Donovan emailed OpenSea, the NFT marketplace where his brother's work was posted, and the platform removed the auction a few days later, but within weeks more images were up for sale. OpenSea claimed it's against our policy to sell NFTs using plagiarized content. Well, here's the problem is, sure, they have a policy of not selling plagiarized content, but it requires the content creator to see it, first of all, see it in time, report it, and have OpenSea or whatever other companies hosting it take it down before it has already sold. According to this article, the NFT market has exploded over the past year, with sales soaring past $24.9 billion compared to just under $95 million the year before. So this is huge. Like, this is absolutely massive. An online platform, the boom has coincided with a massive uptick in fraud. DeviantArt, an online platform with 61 million registered users, where artists can display digital art and sell physical prints. And that's where they're getting them from. That's where they're getting a lot of the stuff from. So unfortunately, DeviantArt offers a way for independent artists to sell their work and to sell prints of their work without a whole lot of overhead, without a lot of upfront cost. But that is also opening these artists up to having their art stolen. So I challenge people like Shatner and anybody else supporting this to really do your research. Stop assuming that everything is good. Stop telling people that this is a good thing until you've fully looked into this. It's really depressing. And that rolls into the next thing I want to talk about is when I was looking up articles and doing research for this week's show, I saw a depressing number of, sorry, my hat is bugging me just a little bit, a depressing number of stories on the Newswire, the gaming Newswire especially, about NFT games, NFTs in games. I mean, there's games specifically. I just saw an ad for one, something mechs, and I'm not 100% sure it's NFTs, but they call it a pay or play to earn game. It's a game where they're offering unique mechs to individual players. You can buy these mechs with the in-game currency, and you own that mech. So essentially, I think sort of marketed like an NFT, because once you buy the mech, you're the only one that owns the mech. And then as you play, you earn resources to spend on things in the game. So that's where that play to earn mentality comes in, but they're marketing it sort of as a crypto type market, where you're going to earn their currency and use their currency or maybe another cryptocurrency to buy vehicles and equipment or whatever for this game. And I saw so many articles about this becoming a trend, and NFTs in gaming is going to be 10 times worse than loot boxes in gaming. It is a horrible idea, and the people who are supporting this are either in on the scam or duped into thinking that they're going to get rich getting involved with this. So anybody who's pushing NFT in gaming, be suspect of that person. Be suspect of their motives and point them out. NFTs are a scam, boys and girls. So Ubisoft recently, just today, this was published seven hours ago on Game Rant. Ubisoft's been talking about NFTs, and their CEO or whatever has come out and said that the gamers just don't get it. They don't get the benefits that you can earn with these NFTs. They don't understand. Why wouldn't gamers want to be able to sell the items that they earn in games? Well, for the longest time, we have been fighting against real world currency affecting games like this, because what it does is it drives people to not only cheat, but it drives people to prioritize or scam people financially. A lot of games ban it. For example, Guild Wars 2 that I play a lot of, if you get caught selling, for example, in-game gold for real money, your account is banned permanently. If you get caught selling real world items or game items for real world money, you get banned. Tarkov, which I'll probably be playing later tonight, they have a whole community of hackers whose sole purpose is to cheat at the game, to get in and find specific items, and then get out and sell them for real world money. Or they do what are called carries. So they cheat to carry people through maps and help them for money, for real money. So this market of inserting real world currency or real world earning into a game is just going to drive that just disgusting culture of cheating, of, you know, people who make it their jobs to get into these games and take out some of the best stuff so that they can turn around and sell it. And it's going to drive that toxic community of basically of cheaters and hackers to do it more. And so Ubisoft has talked about this quartz marketplace and how they're going to do this NFT stuff and how you can buy and sell equipment in your games. And I despise it. I don't like pay to win games anyway, but that's essentially what you're talking about here. Is they're going to open it up so that people can earn money. So essentially, if you don't have enough time or enough money, if you can't invest all of your free time into playing these games or a boatload of money, you're just going to be left behind by the hackers and cheaters and the people who play the game nonstop. And it's really going to ruin the gaming community, these NFTs. I hate to see it, but that's the trend we're going toward. So please push back on this. Use the hashtag NFTs are a scam. When you see these articles, when you see people talking about NFTs, really dig into it and question their motivations. Inform the community. Inform people who don't necessarily know what these things are, and fight against this. Let your game companies know. Don't buy this shit. Tell them with your wallet, but also tell them on social media, tell them in email, write them letters. I don't care. Just tell them this is not what we want. As gamers, we do not want NFTs in games. This trend is, I hate to see it. It's going to ruin gaming so much worse than loot boxes did. And loot boxes are not going away, but I do like seeing the trend of some games that are moving away from them, or doing them in such a way that they are not that you can live without them, in a sense. You know, they're not making it an integral part of getting good at the game or being able to win at the game. At least in that sense, you don't feel like you need the loot box to win or to be good, because they're purely cosmetic or whatever they are. But some games are outright not using them, like staying away from them, and I like to see that. So keep pushing, keep telling the game companies with your wallet that this is not what we want. Hopefully this trend disappears in a couple of years, but man, I hate to see it. It's really starting to worry me that that's where we're going to see the next few years of gaming, just chock full of these NFTs and all this bullshit. All right, so moving on from that, moving on to some happier stuff. Now, I'm not a RuneScape player, but you cannot be an online gamer or a PC gamer and not have heard of RuneScape. It's been around for freaking ever. So in case you didn't know, RuneScape is finally coming out of the digital world to the tabletop world. They are producing Steamforged Games is getting together with the developer of RuneScape, and they are making both a board game and a tabletop role-playing game. The tabletop RPG is going to be 5th edition. It says the 5th edition of the world's favorite blah blah blah. So that means it's going to be 5th edition D&D compatible. The board game is going to be released on Kickstarter, but the tabletop role-playing game is going to go straight to stores. So if you're a huge RuneScape fan, watch for that. They're both supposed to release this year, probably later this year, or maybe you'll start seeing news for it sometime in the next couple of months for that Kickstarter. But yeah, if you're a huge RuneScape fan, you got some things to look forward to as far as tabletop and board gaming goes. There's some stuff coming. The other upcoming news in gaming that I saw that was really big this week is, and you guys probably saw it, but if not, EA and Respawn are getting together again to make some more Star Wars games. So Respawn made Apex Legends, but they also made Jedi Fallen Order. The news that I saw today was that they are planning to make a first-person shooter game. A first-person shooter game, but no details on what that's going to be. That's actually kind of interesting because hopefully it's not another Battlefront, because the last couple have been really bad. But I wouldn't mind seeing another something along the lines of Republic Commando. I think Republic Commando was an underappreciated shooter in the Star Wars franchise. I had a lot of fun playing that game. I would love to see something similar to that. Maybe not necessarily a sequel, but I liked the squad cohesion, the teamwork element of that game. I liked the graphics, and the gameplay style was very fun. But I really liked that each member of your unit had a special skill or special equipment, and you needed to sometimes, breach a door with a specific set of your guys in a specific order, because one guy could hack the terminal or another guy used demolition. So it was very interesting to play that type of game. And the other thing that they are talking about is another game in the Jedi franchise. So the Jedi Fallen Order, another game along that line. So that'll be coming out from EA and Respawn sometime in the future. So keep an eye out for that stuff in case you are still interested in the Star Wars games. Who knows? We might get some cool stuff. We might get some bombs. I don't know. Hard to say. So in comic news, I didn't see a lot, and I like to really focus on indie comics. I haven't seen a lot recently, but what I did want to point out is a buddy of mine, I guess I would say a guy I know. I've met him a couple times. I've actually had him on the show a few months back. Frankie White is releasing a comic, Eat My Flesh, Drink My Blood, on February 14th. You can pick it up at dauntlessstories.com/EMFDMB for Eat My Flesh, Drink My Blood. And if you go to Frankie White's Twitter, it's Frankie with 2 E's _White. You'll see it right at the top of his page, but he is working with, it's kind of a pseudo-horror graphic novel. He is working on it with artist Adam Markowitz and AHG, and looking through some of the panels, really interesting art. Again, it looks like sort of a dark story, related to, at least there's a church on the cover, so I'm imagining there's going to be some sort of religious element to it. But very cool looking book, so check that out as far as indie comics go. And the only other thing that I wanted to talk about tonight was, what are we watching? What are my wife and I watching when it comes to TV and movies? Right now, not a ton. I mean, we are watching a few things. We're finishing up some series, but the things of note that we recently finished is we actually almost straight through binged the latest season of Ozark. Dark, grim show, but very good. And this season was fantastic. So if you're interested in sort of, I'm gonna come right out and say it, that Ozark is better than oh shoot, now I forgot the name of the show with the guy who made meth, the teacher who went and made meth, and I can't remember it. I didn't hate that show, which you guys are going to probably give me shit. I wish I could remember the name of that show. I didn't hate that show, but I think it was overhyped, at least to me, when my wife and I watched it. Like, we watched the whole thing and we enjoyed it. But people made it out like that was the best freaking show they had ever seen. And we were kind of watching it, waiting for it to get that good. It never really got that good. But it was still good, still enjoyable. But I think Ozark is better. I think it's better written. I think it's better shot. I think the characters are more believable. So if you're interested in that type of show and you haven't started it yet, check it out. I think Netflix has all 4 seasons, or you can probably find it on demand and a couple other places. We're also watching the Book of Boba Fett and really enjoying it. I will talk about it more when it's over, because I want to see the whole thing. The latest episode, though, very interesting. I know some people have criticized it because Boba Fett's not in the latest episode, but if you've ever watched a TV show, they sometimes do episodes that don't involve some of the characters. It happens from time to time. Whether you like it or not, it's a normal part of a TV series to sometimes go and look at other characters in the story or set something up by looking. And I think that's what they're doing. I think we're going to see Mando later in the season. But I think they're also setting up the next season of Mandalorian with this latest episode of the Book of Boba Fett. Those 2 series are inevitably tied together, just because of the nature of the characters, the world, and the way they were developed. So, good episode. I think that show is getting better. Every episode is better than the last. It was a slow start. I think maybe the weekly release that they did was probably not the best choice. I think maybe they should have released at least the first 2 or 3 episodes to start with. But it is building up to a really cool story, and I'm very interested to see where it goes next. That's all I've got for tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Let me know what you think about the show. Ask questions, leave comments. And if you see any stories over the next week that you think might be of interest, leave me a comment or hit me up on social media. Make sure you click the red button to subscribe and check out the mugs in the store. I need to make sure you can see that. I'm not looking at the camera feed. But yeah, check out the mugs in the store. It's in the eBay link below. I've got 4 different styles out right now. They help support the channel. I make them myself. I'm not getting them printed by somebody else. I don't make the mugs, but the artwork and the actual getting the artwork on the mug, my wife and I do these. So it helps support the channel. It will help us buy new things, new equipment, and get the studio set up for more fun and excitement. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I will see you all again soon. We're going to have some gaming here in a little bit.